Hello everyone, my name is Shankar Narayan Mishra. I'm a junior research fellow at TCG CREST, Kolkata. Today my topic is detailed analysis of cryptogram confusion attack and pin brute force attack. Introduction. So what are the EMV cards? EMV cards, EMV stands for European MasterCard and Visa. These three companies started a protocol called EMV standards or EMV protocol that has been managed by a separate company called EMV Co. And this company, this EMV protocol is used by all the chip-based cards. So this is the ICICI Bank card, which uses a chip uh, inside it. So whenever there is a chip inside it, these kind of cards are called EMV cards and it uses the EMV protocol. Now in this EMV protocol, there are three parties involved. First one is the bank, or it also called the issuer, because the bank issues the card and then the card holder who is actually presenting the card when he wants to make any payment to the terminal. Terminal is another party who is involved in this transaction. Now, one important thing is that the bank and the card, they share a symmetric key between each other. And this symmetric key is embedded in the card. Also, the same symmetric key is present in the bank server. Now, the terminals. In the middle, you can see this is a point of sale machine, and this is been widely present in Indian shops. But there are some other type of terminals like transport time terminals. So for example, this picture on the left hand side, you can see this is a metro station and the user is presenting his or her card to the terminal. And this terminal will deduct some money as a ticket price, and it will allow the user to access the transport. Similarly, the right hand side photo, it is also a terminal, but this is used in the bus. Now, the EMV protocol has four different parts. One is application selection, offline data authentication, cardholder verification, and transaction authorization. Now, application selection allows the card to start the transaction, and there are multiple companies. For example, right now there are 6 companies worldwide who is using this EMV protocol. These are MasterCard, Visa, American Express, JCB, Discover, and Unipay, and each of these company has their own application to perform these transactions. Now, a terminal must have all this application installed inside it. Otherwise, say for example, a terminal only has MasterCard and Visa application installed and the American Express application is not installed, then person holding American Express card will not be able to make any transaction through this particular terminal. Hence, every terminal in the world must have all the uh, application installed in it. Now, the second part is offline data authentication. In offline data authentication, it is a signature-based authentication where the card makes some signature on some of the data that it has to send to the terminal. And this kind of data involves the currency of the amount, the country the card is being issued, the bank that has been issued the card. This kind of informations are sent to the terminal, and a signature is also sent, which is signed on this kind of data. Now, there are three types of signature happens. One is static data authentication, where signature has been already written on the card during the issue of the card, and it keeps static. It remains the same until the card is expired. So as you can see, this is a very attack prone system, because someone who can intercept between the communication of terminal and the card and steal the signature, and it can present the signature in any place and make the terminal believe that it is actually it is the actual card. Second is a dynamic data authentication, where the signature is not static. It first terminal sends a token number, which is also called unpredictable number, and based on this unpredictable number, the card signs the data and sends the terminal a signature. What happens is, in this way, the signature does not remain same for every transaction. For every transaction, it's a different signature, and hence uh, it is it is not, the attacker will not be able to copy the signature and present to a next transaction. Combined dynamic authentication is a combination of it is actually an advanced mode of dynamic data authentication, where it not only signs the data, it also sends some information along with the signature. Now, the third part is the cardholder verification. So, all of you may remember that when you present the card in the machine asks for a PIN. And if you put the PIN, if you put a correct PIN, in that case, the transaction is successful. Otherwise, the transaction fails. So, this is a method of cardholder verification where where the machine authenticates that the card is in the right hand. Also, there is some other authentication like consumer device verification method, where uh, a copy of the card has been kept in a phone. In now, phone also verifies its owner by some fingerprint, by some pin, or by some pattern. And this, since the phone has already verified its owner, hence the card doesn't need to verify its owner again. So it uses the cardholders, the phone's verification. This is called consumer device verification. And the most unpopular and almost obsolete method is signature on the receipt, which we used to have in earlier days, where the receipt would come and the user has to sign on that receipt. Now, last part is transaction authorization. Now, here some of the cryptographic system is involved. Uh, the symmetric key that has been shared between that has been shared between the card and the bank. Card uses this symmetric key to generate a cryptogram, or the cryptogram is nothing but an encrypted information of the money that has been transacted and some other information, important information. And this information has been sent to the terminal. Now, the terminal does not have the symmetric key. What it does, it sends a cryptogram again to the bank. Now, bank has the symmetric key, bank authenticates it. Once the bank authenticates it, it sends its authentication result to the terminal. And upon receiving this message, terminal decides whether this transaction should go on or not. For example, if the terminal receives a wrong message, like bank sends that this is not a valid cryptogram, then terminal will stop the message, stop the transaction. And if the bank sends the terminal a correct message that the cryptogram is correct only, then the terminal will continue the transaction. So this is a very brief summary of whatever we see in the previous steps. And this is a pictorial view of how the protocol works. So on a very high level, so this first statement, the select command for AID, this is nothing but the technical term for selecting the proper application. Then this proper application has been sent, and then the terminal also requests some data, and the card also requests some data. All of this data has been shared between each other. In some point, when the terminal wants to authenticate the signature, the card also has to send the public key certificates also. Public key, this terminal uses to authenticate. And then some of the more important information is done. and then the cardholder verification is done. The cardholder verification, if it's an online transaction, then the terminal sends the cardholder verification method to the bank. For example, if you are using PIN, the PIN is sent to the bank, and bank checks whether the PIN is correct or not. And you are given only 3 attempts. Once the PIN is correct, then terminal goes in the second step, and it makes further uh, transaction steps. And once everything uh, is made correctly, then the bank confirms that yes, you can now transact the amount. You can now deduct the amount from the card, and the transaction becomes successful. Now there are some security features involved. So first thing that we have seen, that the signature is one of the security feature which uses the public key, RSA public key. Then the customer verification method is another security feature that has been used by this protocol. And the application cryptogram. This is the part where card encrypts the data using the public key, using the symmetric key that it shares with the bank. So this uh, system is called application cryptogram authentication. So these are the 4 basic fundamental pillars of the security of the EMV protocol. Now, there are few attacks. One of the most popular attack is Apple Wallet Relay attack. This attack is first published and also demonstrated by the researchers from Birmingham University. In this attack, it uses Apple Pay Wallet Relay attack. So as we have already seen that a copy of the card can be present in the phone, in the smartphone also. Now, Apple's iPhone has a application called Apple Wallet, and in this wallet, you can keep all of your cards. You can keep all of your cards. Now, Apple Wallet has a feature. Now, every time you can remember that when the card is in the phone, you have to use your verification method to unlock the phone. But it may not be possible for every time if you are in a rush, and if you are going to board a train or you are going to board a bus, you may be in a rush. So Apple introduced a thing called exit express transit mode, where if you do not unlock the phone, but the locked phone can also be used in the terminal. But the problem is that Apple does not have any limit or restriction on the transaction amount through this mode. For example, if a transport terminal asks for £1,000, the Apple wallet will disburse this £1,000. It will not think that the amount is too much for just a train ticket. But this is unlike Google Pay and Samsung, because in Google Pay and Samsung they have a limit to restrict this attack. Now, there are some vulnerabilities present in the Visa card also. In Visa tries to make the transaction fast. That's why it skips some of the security features, and that is why the most of the vulnerabilities that is found is in the Visa card, rather than much less vulnerabilities in the Mastercard. So this is the pictorial diagram of how this attack is going on. So until this step, transaction terminal qualifier, everything goes fine. Okay, the phone is locked, screen locked. The attacker sends some wake up bytes. That is the same bytes that has been sent from the terminals also. Uh, so these wake up bytes are sent, and the phone being being in a locked mode also, the card gets activated, and the transaction goes on until this TTQ step as a legitimate transaction. But after that, when the cardholder verification method comes, the attacker simply modifies some of the messages that is being communicated between the Apple phone and the terminal, and makes the terminal believe that this is a transport terminal, and it allows the transaction go on as a very much legitimate transaction, and the money gets deducted from the Apple wallet. Now, this is a actual attack lab attack diagram. So where we have replicated the attack, and there we need a laptop, iPhone, locked iPhone, Android phone, which we will be routing, and a terminal. Any POS terminal is good. It doesn't have to be a transport terminal. Now, another thing is called Proxmark. Now, a Proxmark is actually a NFC communication device where it can uh, make interception between any NFC communication. So what happens is, this locked iPhone, it communicates with the Proxmark device. It sends NFC communication bytes to the Proxmark. The Proxmark again connected to the laptop, and laptop runs a Python script. And then this laptop is connected to the Android phone through internet connection. And this Android phone then communicates with the terminal as if this Android phone acting as a real legitimate iPhone. So these are the devices that we have used. So this is the simple point of sale terminal. Uh, it is used in various markets in the UK, various shops in the UK. This is a rooted Android phone, and this is the Proxmark device that uh, we have been using to intercept between the NFC communication. So this is the complete setup. This is a laptop that we have been using, and this is the iPhone, which is in a locked mode. This is the Proxmark device, which is again connected to the laptop through a wired connection, and then this POS uh, terminal, this needs a phone to control it. This phone is not being used in any other purpose. It is just to control this terminal, because this terminal doesn't have that smartphone screens. Now, this is the rooted Android phone. So we carry on to another attack, which is called cryptogram confusion attack. In this cryptogram confusion attack, we, instead of using one rooted phone, we are using two rooted phone, and we are not going to use the Proxmark again. So in this attack, what happens is, the attacker gets a blocked card, and it can make believe the terminal that the card is not blocked. So it changes only two of the message bytes. It changes. One is that this attacker, when the card sends the terminal that I'm a blocked card, attacker changes the blocked card message to a legitimate card message. And at the second message change, where the card changes the type of transaction also. So as a result, terminal believes that this is a legit transaction from a legitimate card, and then it communicates with the bank, and bank also authenticates that yes, this is a legitimate transaction, and the attack happens. So this attack was actually uh, actually present in few years back, 2-3 years back. It was actually a valid attack. So this is a setup. We have the iPhone. It can be a different phone or the different card also. It doesn't have to be always the iPhone. It could be just a card. And this is the first Apple. This is the first Android phone which is rooted, and this is connected to the laptop through internet connection. And this laptop is again connected to the second Android phone through an internet connection. And this second Android phone is acting as a legitimate card to the terminal. Now, the good thing about this, that since all these components are connected wirelessly, so the laptop could be in a different country. The first Android phone and the locked iPhone. Both has to be together, but both of them could be in a different country. And the second rooted Android phone and the terminal, it could be in a different country. All of them connected to the internet, and that it can make the attack possible. We have demonstrated this attack, but what we found that by the time we demonstrated this attack, the Visa has already implemented a countermeasure to prevent this attack. Now the last attack is pin brute force attack. In this pin brute force attack, we exploit offline pin verification method where, for example, if some place, say some island in Malaysia doesn't have internet connection, but the customers of the visitors of this island wants to pay through card. So what could be done? So there is a feature called uh, offline plane offline pin authentication, where the pin is authenticated by the terminal in offline mode. But there are some cards where the terminal is not able to send the transaction certificate. Now, this transaction certificate is very important because it once the transaction certificate is sent, it will block the card after 3 wrong attempts on the pin. But if it is not sent, then the attacker gets unlimited attempt to enter pin, and he can write a program and iterate through the multiple pins. And as a result, he will be easily decipher the pin. He will be easily get the pin and he can use that pin later on. So this is all. Thank you.